We just need to understand the data, see the proof, know what works. Call that being particular? We call it being precise. We don't want head-scratching gaps, guesses, assumptions, or opinions. We crave insights and answers, born from data. We're engineers who love how having all of our telemetry, metrics, events, logs, and traces cuts through the crosstalk, separates signal from noise, fact from opinion. It's not data for show, it's data that shows, because it saves us time, settles debate, cancels meetings before they even start, and says, hey, look over here. This is the problem. When dev, ops, security, and business teams come together around data, it washes away the doubt. It reveals the connections we all know are there, the threads that point to the path forward, and what will really work. This is Data for Engineers.
Please welcome Director, Developer Relations, Jemiah Sius.
Woo! Good morning, everybody. We got our coffee, we're all ready, we're good to go. Welcome back to FutureStack Day 2, and welcome to the UpTime Live. This is the first time that we're doing the UpTime in front of a live audience, and for those who aren't aware, the UpTime is our monthly roundup of all things observability. But UpTime is more than a collection of nines, it's more than your mobile checkout working. We believe that every developer and every ops engineer deserves more uptime in their career trajectories, in their ideas, and in their passions. And what a day yesterday. It kicked off with an inspiring keynote led by our CEO, Bill Staples, and other Relics, customers, partners sharing how New Relics are crushing all silos and delivering observability for all. Where are my developers in the building? People, that's it. So we got a few developers. You all saw how we're using logs and context, real user monitoring, errors inbox, and CodeStream to use more data in the way that we build our software. What about my ops gurus? Ops folks? All right, so we saw service levels, omni maps, changes to infra and Kubernetes to help you operate your software systems the best that you possibly can. And in addition to the keynote, there were a ton of jam-packed, amazing hands-on demos and sessions in our breakouts. In the flow, we had our partner stack, we had our hackathon with developers building their own projects and attending workshops. You also got to create your own swag. Anyone created their own swag in the flow yesterday? What's a conference without some extra swag? Ooh, you got some extra swag, who wants a hoodie? Right here? I already got one more. All right, so in the flow, you may have also seen our pledge wall. And if you haven't, our pledge wall is a challenge that we put out to all attendees. We challenge you to make a statement about how you're going to create more equity in tech. And more equity in tech means that all people are considered in the experiences that we provide when we think about innovation and a refinement of our digital transformation. For every pledge that we collected, it was sketched into the pledge wall, and we also made a contribution to our beneficiaries Hack the Hood and Fast Forward. But that's not all we're doing to help our nonprofit partners in providing them with more access to technology. And I'm super excited to invite my first guest to the stage. Arian Evans is going to talk about what else we're doing from our social impact team. Welcome to the stage, Arian. Good morning. All right, and so I just spoke about our pledge wall and how we challenge all of the attendees to make a pledge on how they're going to create more equity in tech. Could you speak with us about what New Relic is continuing to do?
Yeah, thanks, Jemiah. I'm so proud to be here on behalf of our newrelic.org team. Our social impact organization is committed to creating equitable access to technology. Today, we do that by enabling nonprofits, engaging our employees, and building partnerships with community organizations. In 2020, we formally launched our Observability for Good program, expanding the free tier of New Relic for nonprofits. We learned from our nonprofit customers many organizations needed additional enablement support in order to make sustainable impact. Tapping into our employees and all of the ways that they can volunteer in the communities that they care about, we launched our pro bono program last year. We learned from our nonprofit customers we learned through our pro bono program that many ways our employees can help enhance their organization is the strategic usage of observability and the optimization of time to instrument. All of our relics have volunteer time off, and what better way than to stack those hours by spending time enhancing the value of New Relic with our nonprofits impacting communities around the world. As we continue to learn more about the needs of communities and nonprofits and their digital journeys, we understand that funding is still a barrier that challenges so many impactful projects. We know the world continues to quickly innovate and technological advancements are happening every day. We don't want nonprofit organizations to be left behind because of funding gaps. That's why I'm so excited to announce our new Impact Fund. We're giving away $100,000 to help nonprofits across the country have access to resources they need to build great technology. The applications for the Impact Fund are open today, and we're asking for all of your help. Help us spread the word about the Impact Fund to nonprofits in your community and those you might know that are in need. It's kind of exciting because, I mean, you know, Twitter is a thing, social media is a thing, and what better way than to get in on that good stuff?
No, amazing. And so, other than us asking you to help us spread the word, we're also asking you to help us build those donations. So today, every time you tweet using the hashtag FutureStack, we're going to donate another $5 to our partners at Fast Forward and Hack the Hood. So get those tweets out there and let's build those donations to see how much we can make today in donations to Fast Forward and Hack the Hood. Arian, thank you so much for joining me today. I am honored to have you here speaking about what we're doing for my social impact team. It's been a pleasure working with you on Observability for Good, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at FutureStack.
Thanks, Jemiah.
$100,000 to nonprofits to help them close digital divides and give them more access to the technology that they need to apply observability into the way that they're building their processes. And that's not all that we're doing. Last year, we also launched the Student Edition to provide access to observability to students that are going through their educational careers so they can apply in their actual production engineering journey. And so today I'm excited to invite to the stage my next guest. He's the CEO and founder of Platzi. So Platzi is the largest technology school in Latin America, educating more than 3 million students. In addition to being the #1 referrer of startups to the Y Combinator, with a 10% acceptance rating, incredible, students who engage with Platzi's program for 1 year, dedicating an hour a day, have 3 to 10 times their lifetime income. So welcome to the stage, Freddie. Good morning, Freddie. How are you?
Hey, Jemiah. Thank you for having me here.
No, I'm excited to be talking to you today. So, Freddie, you all are doing amazing work with Platzi down in Latin America. 3 million students is incredible. I heard something like 60 to 70% of them are all focused on computer science.
Yes. Well, Latin America, the reality of Latin America has changed a lot in the past couple of years, especially because of the pandemic. Before, Latin America was your standard ecosystem of junior developers working locally and some consultancies. But in the past couple of years, we have seen a 10x to 20x investment in venture capital, the creation of amazing startups, and also the explosion of remote work is leveling up the need for extreme high-level computer science skills, but also marketing skills, design skills, and now DevOps skills, DevSecOps skills, and anything related to the continuous deployment and operation of very complex engineering tasks and engineering applications. So we're seeing a similar ecosystem that we had already seen here in Silicon Valley, and thanks to remote work, it's been not only rewarded similarly, but becoming one of the most important engines of poverty transformation. Latin America is a very poor place, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the talent. So all our 3 million students are now suddenly going from earning $300 per month, which is the average Latin American minimum wage, to earning $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 per month, which not only elevates them, but elevates their communities.
Wow, that is incredible. There's something that you said that was pretty interesting. It's the demand for senior level talent in the Latin American region now. And I think we're experiencing a similar phenomenon globally, like a growing demand for talent, for skill set. Thinking of the demand on the developer skill set, right? So we used to write code, and then we had to write tests, and hopefully they're green and clean. I'm not gonna say mines were green and clean, but we had to adopt agile methods. Some companies went into you build it, you own it, right? So we're trying to figure out the balance between developer and ops and dev ops and now DevSecOps, and there's always this continued growth or continued advancement that's needed, and it changes the way that we decide to learn or interact with the community. So how are the engineers or the learners that you're working with using platforms like Platzi to address these issues, to meet this demand of growth and skill set?
Yeah, so it used to be that in the region, most of the startups were always either relatively small and not that big, or working for the US or Europe or international markets. Some exceptions, of course. Mercado Libre, which we saw yesterday, they're huge. It's like, was it 700 million requests per minute?
700 million requests a minute.
Yeah, that's, Mercado Libre is bigger than Twitter.
Wow.
And have been for a long, long time. But they used to be the exception. Nowadays, companies like iFood make more revenue than the average delivery company from the US. And iFood is a Brazilian company. Companies like Rappi, like Kavak, we're seeing all these startups growing so hard and so fast. And the gap of the talent needed to scale the startups is growing more and more. At the same time, which is an ironic but actually kind of a positive thing, this industry doesn't have unemployment. Unemployment is negative. We sorely need something like this. When you take all universities and boot camps combined in Latin America, they only graduate 100,000 professionals per year. And we need 1 million per year. And it will continue, that gap will continue to stay like that. And in the meantime, we really need jobs like this. So the only thing that we need to fix this gap is a catalyst, and that's what Platzi is trying to become. What we're seeing now is that it's not only the first job as a full stack developer, as a front-end engineer, back-end engineer, or as a junior DevOps engineer. It's more of, I'm already in the tech industry. How do I take this application, this startup, this company, this tool that I'm building, and scale it to 1 million people, 3 million people? Because in the pandemic, we went from having very few internet connections to everybody needing to be connected. Right now in Latin America, 48% of people have a computer at home, which is very little. But everybody has a smartphone, everybody has an internet connection, and everybody is using money online, everybody is doing something that is enabling all of these new startups that normally you wouldn't see here, over there. And it's 650 million people that across a huge region share the same time zone and the same culture. And the same time zone as the largest consumer market in the world, which is here, the US. So I think it's very exciting what's going to happen in Latin America.
No, and incredibly exciting. And something that you said, it sounds like you're also using this access to technology and growth to address the unique issues within the region, right? Which just creates additional impact, right? And it's a part of the reason why I've been truly honored to work with you all in the last few months. And I'm more than excited to announce that we're going to join you in this journey, right? And so a part of our goal in launching Observability for All, or launching the student edition, were to look for organizations like Platzi and see how we could better support students around the world that are learning and give them access to a platform like New Relic and resources and tools And so today we're announcing a partnership between New Relic and Platzi, right, where every student at Platzi will have access to the New Relic Student Edition.
Yes.
Right? But in addition to access, right, because access to a platform is one part, we're also going to provide education through 4 new courses being added on the Platzi portal. We're going to give you access to parts of my team for community support. We're going to give you access to code challenges and certification. We're building a real ecosystem of education and support for the Platzi students. In addition to that, we're creating 2,000 scholarships for more people to join Platzi, learn, and grow and advance their skill sets.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though talent is evenly distributed, opportunities aren't. So we hope that both New Relic's mission and our mission to transform Latin America into the tech hub for the world converge, and we're very, very proud to do this partnership with New Relic. Thank you, Jemiah.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Freddie.
Thanks.
I personally am extremely excited by this. I'm a non-traditional learner. My background is in design, and I stayed up lots of nights on lynda.com, if anyone remembers that, teaching myself how to code. So opportunities like this really keep me going. And I want to keep the show going as well. So I'm going to welcome my next guest to the stage. He's the VP of Developer Experience at Netlify. In addition to being the VP of Developer Experience at Netlify, he says that he's the reigning Smashburger champion. He won't be leaving with that title today, I promise you. He's one of the judges of FutureHack 2022, our hackathon, which just wrapped, so congratulations to all the participants that submitted projects. And he's one of the hosts of, he's the host of one of my favorite YouTube channels, Learn with Jason. So I'm gonna invite Jason Langsdorff to the stage. Good morning, Jason, how's it going?
It's going great. I heard you talking about my burgers while I wasn't up here to defend myself.
Oh, you're going down. You're going down, my friend. All right, but before you joined, we had Freddie on stage. Freddie's the CEO of Platzi, and we were talking about the shifting landscape within Latin America that is it's creating incredible need for software engineers and for growth. And I think channels like Learn with Jason on YouTube, Free Code Camps, things like that, they've become one of the go-to resources when continued learning is needed, right? So how are people using channels like Learn with Jason to address this rapidly changing need?
So I think one of the things that's really interesting about the way that the world has evolved is that we have access to people in a way that we never have before. When you buy a textbook, when you take a pre-recorded course, when you go to college, you're finding information that was prepackaged and delivered to you kind of from afar. You're at a distance removed from the expert who's teaching that information. And so what I find really interesting about platforms like YouTube and Twitch is that you have direct access to this person. They're working often in real time. And if you have a question, you can ask that question and get an answer from the person who is the subject matter expert right there, right then and there. You don't have to email and hope they check it. You don't have to send them a DM on Twitter and hope they accept. You just get to say, hey, why did you do it like that? And they can say, oh yeah, let me dig into this and give you some context. And I think that's such a fascinating way to approach and dig into this. And on top of that, it's now accessible in a way that it never was before. If you wanted to meet an expert, you would have to go to an event. You would have to be lucky enough to get hired at one of the companies that they work at. And for most of us, that's just not a reality. Like, I can't afford to fly to a conference halfway around the world just on the off chance that I get 10 minutes to talk to an expert that I want to talk to. But with YouTube, with Twitch, I can do that. I can get there right now. I can go say, hey, I have one question for you. I need 2 minutes of your time. They can answer it. I can high five them virtually, and then I go on with my life knowing something that I didn't know before. And I think that's such a cool way to work.
I agree. One thing that also does it for me, and I'm not sure about the other folks out there, is I love when you're engaging this way and you have an opportunity to work virtually and kind of like watch them actually build and debug projects. And they're trying to figure something out, and they're like going to Google, and they're like, this worked, you know? And I'm like, whoo, it's not just me. It's not just me going to Google to try to figure this thing out. does wonders for my imposter syndrome. Like, yes. All right. And I think it's the same for millions of people or millions of coders, professional or not, that are leveraging YouTube University for this continued learning. But what benefit are we seeing? What benefit do software developers get from platforms or media channels on YouTube versus traditional education or boot camps?
Well, you just touched on probably one of the key points, which is that you get to watch somebody do a real project. When you watch a tutorial or read a tutorial, look at finished code, you're seeing the happy path. You're seeing everything when it works as expected. And that's not how code works. Whenever any of us works on a project, I mean, who here has been doing something that you've done 1,000 times and it doesn't work? Like, right? This happens to me 5, 6, 7 times a day. I'm like, this works every time. What is wrong? But part of being an expert is learning how to break down these problems and overcome that bug that you know is, like, I know it works like this, right? And I think this is the reason that people do things like watch cooking shows. You don't get to eat that food, but you get to watch an expert prepare a meal. And in doing that, you say, oh, what did they do with the knife? Oh, why did they salt it every step of the way instead of just once at the end? All those little tips are the things that make you better at your craft. And I think that it's the same when you watch somebody code. If you're watching an expert who's been doing this for a long time, dive in and write code, you get to see the happy path, the end result where they get everything working, and that's great. But where I find the real value is in how are they overcoming these little tripping points where they get stuck, where they run into something unforeseen, they see an error, the network is down and they gotta work around that. Like, how do they deal with those day-to-day problems, and what tips can I pick up that'll make me more effective as I go on with my work?
So you're telling me that we're not just all taking the happy path? Is that not what happens? Like,
I think
just...
the problem with the happy path is that the happy path is about 8 inches wide, and if you take one step too far to the left or the right, you fall off a steep cliff. And so what the experts really are is just the people who know how to climb back on.
I got you. That makes sense. And maybe that's why I was on YouTube learning some things this weekend. We did have 6 demos in the keynote yesterday. Lots of building there.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
Not at all. But I'm also excited to announce, and I'm glad that you were able to join me today because I love the content that's on your channel. And I'm sure everyone in the room has used YouTube University at some point, whether you were brushing up on skills or trying to learn a new technology like in React or Kubernetes or OpenTelemetry or anything that kept you up way past your bedtime. And so I'm super excited to announce that we're gonna actually enter an annual sponsorship of Learn with Jason.
Thank you very much.
And in this, oh, yeah, I'll clap for that. But what really excites me is that more than just an annual sponsorship, it's not just a additional logo to the pre-roll, right? It's a real partnership in figuring out how could we create amazing content that's gonna give more access to observability.
Right, and to that end, we're gonna do what we're calling tentatively Observability Week on Learn with Jason. So stay tuned for details, but what we're gonna do is bring experts from around the observability community onto the show, and we're gonna set up what is observability, how do you think about it, what does it encompass, how do we instrument it, how do you set your sites up and instrument your code to actually add observability, and then what I think is maybe the most important part, which is once you have that data, what do you do with it? How do you actually make improvements based on the information that you're gathering? And y'all, are y'all tweeting with the FutureStack hashtag? I heard that we're giving away $5 every time to somebody who needs to learn every time we do that. So get your tweeting fingers ready. Let's spend New Relic's money.
Jason, thank you so much for joining me today on stage.
Thank
you for all the work that you're doing with Learn with Jason. I am going to be very excited to become the reigning Smashburger champion. And I'll see you a bit later in the flow for the announcement of the Hackathon Awards at 2:15? 12:15. It's been a long week, everyone. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're gonna keep this show moving on, or always on. I'm excited to welcome my next guest to the stage. He's the CEO and co-founder of Wilco, On Freud. In his previous role, he's the VP of engineering at WeWork and Handy, and over the last 15 years, OWN has been enabling engineers to build better software and unlock their full career potential by getting hands-on. Let's welcome OWN, everyone. OWN, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Super excited to be with you today and actually have met you in person this week.
Yeah, it was really exciting. Thanks for having me. Actually, can we get a quick hand for Jemiah? He's been organizing an amazing session.
Thank you.
And
thank you so much.
There are so many people involved in this thing that I've met so far that I just want to thank. So Allison and Hrishi and Ashley and Bobby and Nelly and Cassie and and Aaron, so many people I'm forgetting backstage. This is amazing. Great production.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. OWN, before you came out, we've been speaking about learning platforms and boot camps like Platzi and the work that they're doing, like incredible work. Platzi, 3 million students, massive growth.
Yep.
I spoke with Jason from Learn with Jason about how engineers are leveraging, free media channels on YouTube to continue growth or learn, needed technologies to get the job done. And I think that platforms and channels like Platzi and Learn with Jason are doing an incredible job at teaching like the theory of software engineering. But after you've gone through the content, you've gotten a degree, you did the boot camp, you graduated from the platform, what comes next? What happens afterwards?
Yeah, that's a great question. Writing code is obviously an important skill and we need to practice it. But it's just one skill out of many that are required to be a good developer. And it's not like the first day on your job, your team lead is going to come to you and say, write me some code. They're actually going to say, familiarize yourself with your teammates and with the architecture of the system and the build process and all of that. And guess what? All of the code writing theory you've learned actually doesn't prepare you for any of that.
So we're not owning the GitHub organizations on our first day.
We are not owning the GitHub organization, and all of a sudden we have to hook into a development lifecycle and so many different things that we've never heard of. And all we did is, like Jason said, practice the happy path of coding.
So if it's so important to have an opportunity to practice and get hands-on, and when you're going into a career, you're responsible for these massive production environments. What are the challenges that engineers have experienced or professionals have experienced in applying the concepts that they've learned and getting hands-on?
Yeah, so the real challenge is when you practice on the job. First of all, it's extremely slow, right? Because you rarely get the opportunity to practice the stuff you want. The CI/CD pipeline has been built years ago and no one's touching it. New components are being written, but not as frequently as you'd like. And thankfully, production is mostly up, so you don't get to handle those types of scenarios. So that's one problem. The other problem is that it's very error prone. If I practice in production, and I can easily cause catastrophes, and that's just not the right kind of practice you want. You want to be able to practice in a safe environment. And then the last thing, it doesn't provide equal opportunity. First of all, you have to have a job to actually be able to practice on it. And then even on it, it depends on which team you got to, who are your mentors, and so much can change. So what I would really recommend to anyone who would like to upskill is figure out a way for you to practice, but a way that mimics your real job as closely as you can. So it can't be this sandbox environment where all you do is write code. Practice the whole life cycle and try to do it as close to real life as you can.
So we have a few options. We either provide an opportunity for production level practice environments, or we just break prod more often and give our ops folks, some more job security.
Yeah, so some people actually prefer the second one, but I think I'll go with the first.
I think I'll go with the first too. And so for another exciting announcement, everyone, I'm excited to announce that we're going to partner with Wilco this year to create the League of Observability. The League of Observability will be a partnership between New Relic and Wilco to provide production-level environments with on-demand opportunities to practice your engineering concepts, team collaboration, DevOps, observability, and so much more. And we're building towards a global launch in Q3, where we'll launch with self-paced learning and in-person competitions, and we're inviting you all to try Wilco.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be really exciting. You can come to the flow area at 2:15 today. You'll get to practice. Who knows, maybe you'll beat Jemiah and do better than him on the observability practice. And if you can't make it for some reason at 2:15, check out the QR code right over there and scan it. Do it on your laptop, not on your phone. This is supposed to mimic your actual job. So bring your laptop at 2:15. If you can't, scan this and try it out.
I've tried it, and I was stomped. Owen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I think I will come to the Wilco session and give it another try. Maybe I'll work on my team collaboration in the meantime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jemiah.
No, and I hope you enjoy the rest of FutureStack. All right, so the UpTime is moving on. And I'm going to welcome my next guest to the stage, Melissa Klein. Melissa leads our open source program office, and over the last 18 years, she's been developing open source strategies to help teams open source their code base, build community, and better leverage open source technology in their day-to-day work. Let's all welcome out Melissa, everyone. Thank you for joining me today.
Good to see you, Jemiah.
All right, Melissa, so this morning we've spoke about a lot. We've talked about the lack of access, non-traditional learning and continued education, the need for getting hands-on in production level environments, not just in code sandboxes like I've been doing. But there's one way I think engineers are addressing all these topics all at once, and that's through open source. So could you speak with us about what engineers are doing? How do they leverage open source to advance their skill sets and their careers?
And thanks for having me, Jemiah. I love to talk open source. So developers have easy access to open source code and documentation. It's freely available and easy to download from the internet. And they can get it installed quickly. And if they run into any problems, there's a community of developers out there to help them, whether they're asking questions in forums, reading blog posts, or watching tutorials, or even on social media, throwing a question out there for the community to answer. So it's an easy way for them to get help from other developers and get started quickly on that technology. And once they get into that technology, they can start contributing as well. There's they have a feature or a bug fix that they think that they can contribute. When they put that contribution in, it will be reviewed by the community, and they'll get good feedback on their coding skills. All those contributions are also available for everyone to see on GitHub. So companies can see them as a code resume and see their coding skills in real life. And honestly, companies are looking for open source skills in their employees right now. So having that on your resume is definitely a plus.
It makes sense. It reminds me of a stat that I read. It said there's something like 14 million developers contributing to open source projects on GitHub alone. And I think it was an old stat, so I'm sure it's doubled almost by now. And so developers are all in on open source, or I think all engineers are all in on open source at this point. And with so many people dedicating their time and energy to advancing these projects, what kind of change is it making in the way that we develop software?
That's a good question, Jemiah. I think a good example of this is a little project you might have heard of called Kubernetes. And Kubernetes is actually used by a majority of companies today. And as people have been moving their workloads over to Kubernetes, they have found need for additional tools, automation, frameworks to make that go smoother. And what's happened is we've gotten a whole ecosystem of other open source projects that help with your Kubernetes deployments. And so not only are companies leveraging that additional innovation and technology, but they're also seeing the benefit of supporting the communities that actually build these tools and these frameworks. And that is why New Relic is a platinum member of the CNCF Foundation. And that's also why we have dedicated engineering teams who contribute full-time to projects like OpenTelemetry. And also why we contributed our code base for Pixie to the CNCF project and have a team working on that full-time as well.
So because so many engineers are dedicating time, it sounds like it's creating a change in the way that we build, thinking of Kubernetes going from monoliths to microservice to everything being deployed in Kubernetes, it seems like. And it leads to organizations supporting the community through sponsorships like the CNCF and donating projects like Pixie. Anyone use Pixie in the room? Yeah. Right, Pixie, it's amazing, right? One-click deployment to see what's going on with your Kubernetes clusters. But what else are we doing internally? I think we have also open sourced our agents or something like that. Could you speak of how it's changed New Relic internally in the way that we also think about the software that we build?
That's right, Jemiah. We've actually had a GitHub presence for many years now with example code and tools and things for people to get started on their observability journey. But in 2020, we open sourced our agents under an Apache license so that everyone can learn from our instrumentation code. They can also modify it to fit their needs and make contributions back if they feel like they want to do that. In fall of 2021, we actually introduced the New Relic IO, which includes almost 500 quick starts for people to quickly get started with their observability. And many of those are open source and available for you to learn from them and modify them to fit your needs. Actually, our ecosystem continues to grow, and today we'd like to announce our latest quick start from Circle CI, and we have a video to introduce it.
Thanks. Wish I could make it there live. Hi, I'm Oren Bartel, Product Manager for Extensibility at Circle CI. I'm so excited to be a part of FutureStack 2022 to show you what we've been building in partnership with New Relic. Circle CI is the leading continuous integration and delivery platform for software innovation at scale, and we're relied on by the world's best engineering teams to radically reduce the time from idea to execution. Over the past decade, we've delivered confidence to millions of developers, teams, and software organizations looking to ship better code faster. But the way modern teams build, test, and deploy applications is getting more complex, which means that CI alone can't cover that entire problem space. We believe in meeting developers where they're at and giving them the flexibility to work with tools that best meet their needs. We're proud to support an ecosystem of integrations with over 70 best-in-class technology partners, covering the software delivery cycle from idea to implementation. And that's why we're excited to share the Circle CI Quick Start for New Relic Instant Observability. It gives you the health of your entire software ecosystem at your fingertips in a single consolidated location for all of your teams. Let me show you how it works. Here's the data in the Circle CI platform. You can see that Circle CI has a wealth of information about your projects and the health of your pipelines, allowing you to dig into the details down to the job level. However, you can realize even more efficiencies and eliminate data silos by combining this information with data from the rest of your tech stack in New Relic. The Circle CI Quick Start is simple to set up and works right out of the box, giving you real-time data on your Circle CI performance in minutes, helping you unblock critical workflows and collaborate across teams. And the great thing about New Relic is that I can configure this dashboard any way I like. Let's take a look at one common use case, handling flaky tests. Sometimes a test will fail to produce the same results, even without any changes to my build. I want to locate these flaky tests so I can definitively determine whether this is a bug in my code, an issue in the test itself, or something caused by an external factor. In this example, I took external log data about my failed tests and added it to my pre-built dashboard with a single click. As you can see, it's super simple to combine and correlate observability data with Circle CI job status data. And this is just one of the many ways you can use Circle CI and New Relic together to break down data barriers for better builds and deploys. The Circle CI Quick Start is available today in New Relic IO, so you can start monitoring your pipelines in the context of production data in minutes. And this is just the beginning. We want to deepen our partnership and expand the integrated capabilities to help teams that are reliant on disparate systems to collaborate better and innovate faster. So here's where you come in. Let us know how you want the Quick Start to evolve and show us how you use this data to innovate. Try out the Quick Start, then send us a tweet or post in our discussion board to let us know what you think. We'll send you a gift as a thank you for helping us on our mission to empower teams to ship better code faster. Get all the details in the Circle CI Quick Start in New Relic IO. Now back to you in Las Vegas.
Melissa, I want to thank you for taking your time to join me on stage and talk about what we're doing within the open source community and all the work that you've done internally to help us work more open at New Relic.
Thanks, Jemiah. Good to see you.
Awesome. All right, so today we spoke about observability for all, even yesterday. And observability for all for us means the way that we build our platform, providing those experiences that allow you to remove tool, team, and data fragmentation, right? To work horizontal across the platform and take advantage of those experiences that easily allow you to see what's going on within your applications. But observability for all also means the way that we support our community, the way that we work with nonprofits as a part of the New Relic for Good program, how we support students with the Student Edition, working with partners like Learn with Jason and Plotzy and Wilco to provide more experiences for engineers to get hands-on. It also means recognizing the folks that help us in this observability journey, because without you, it's not possible. And so taking aim at celebrating our customers and their innovation and excellence in observability, we brought back our Ollie Awards. This little thing right here. So we'll be sending a winner a nice little trophy that you can put on your desk because you're awesome at helping us make observability possible. So I want to announce our first Ollie Award winner for the Open Source Leader category. Open Source Leader is someone who shares New Relic's experience or New Relic's excitement for open source. They're building community projects that promote collaboration and technology advancement, and it's bonus points given if they're in the open source ecosystem. And so this year's Ollie Award winner as an open source leader is Peter from Credit Karma. Thank you, Peter, for all of the work that you're doing within the open source community. All right. Moving on to our next segment, or to our next award, I'm sorry. I want to announce the User Award. So the Ollie User Award champion is someone that's going above and beyond within communities like the Explorers Hub and engaging in other New Relic communities to become a power user and help other customers advance their observability practices. And this year's user award for Ollie champion is Zainul from Tokopedia. This category is super important to me because we honestly could not do it without people like Zainul. Thank you so much. And last but not least, our Account Award. The Account Award goes to a nonprofit who embodies New Relic's principles and values. They've seen New Relic grow through all of our evolutions and have stayed a steady partner with us along the way. And this year's winner is the American Red Cross. Thank you so much for all of your work, and thank you for your partnership. We look forward to continue working with you in the future. But also, thank you for everyone that joined us today. Thank you for attending FutureStack. Thank you to all of our award winners, the community members, and the organizations that are present here. I hope that you all take full advantage of today, our last day at FutureStack 2022. Meet someone new, get hands-on at Wilco, try something new. But remember, only together can we build observability for all in an all-in-one platform. I hope you all enjoy FutureStack Day 2.